All right, so review 2, it says, the first thing is it says that you have a right triangle and you have sine of x is 5 over 13. They want you to find the cosine. So the first thing you have to do is remember your trigonometry. So you have Sally could tell Oscar had a hat on always. So if I want the cosine of this, that means I need my adjacent and hypotenuse. So I need this value right here. I know this one's 5 and I know this is 13. How can I solve for that one right there? Pythagorean theorem is right. So we have, it says the two sides added together and squared. So z squared plus 5 squared is equal to 13 squared. I then square these out, so I have z squared plus 25 is equal to 169. Subtract my 25 and square root both sides, so z is 12. So this now is 12, so the cosine is 12 over 13. Questions? Hopefully bringing back memories. Find the length of x to the nearest tenth. So we have opposite and we have hypotenuse. So we have opposite and hypotenuse, so we can use sine. So I say sine of 46 is equal to opposite of x over 20. Now, how do I solve for x? Multiply by 20. In your calculators, because we've already done radians, make sure you are in degrees. So check to make sure you're in degree mode, because we have done some radian measures, so you want to make sure it's in degree. But you should get x is 14.4. Questions? It says that we have this triangle and we're trying to find x to of the angle. So we have opposite and hypotenuse. I prefer to use sine anytime I can. So I'm going to go sine of x is opposite, which is 59.3 over hypotenuse of 67.4. How do I find the measure of an angle? Anybody remember? Inverse, sine inverse. So we're going to take sine inverse of this. And you plug that into your calculator and you get 61.6 degrees. Law of sines. Remember that law of sines, and I would make sure you have this on your paper, but it's sine of an angle over the side that's across from it, so little a, is equal to the sine of a different angle over that angle, or that side. So it doesn't matter, and it's, if you need to, you could always think of sine of c over c, and you would take any of those. So what do we have? We have b, so we're going to go sine of 78 over b is equal to, and we're given these two, so we have sine of 31 over 27. If we needed to use c, how could I find out what c was? If I needed to know, hypothetically, needed to know what c was, how would I find that? and subtract it from 180. So 180 minus these would give me C, because you might need that to remember. Anyways, now to solve for B. Cross multiply. So we have 27 sine of 78 is equal to B sine 31. Divide by sine 31 is right. So B is 51.3. All you have to do is plug this into your calculator. So you should get 30.9 degrees by plugging it into your calculator. Use law of sines to find this measurement. So we have sine of the theta over 57 is equal to, and you could put C, sine of 50 over 45. Cross multiply. 57 sine 50 is equal to 45 sine of my C or theta. I want to get this by itself, so I'm going to divide by 45. So I have sine of theta is equal to 57 sine 50 over 45. How do I solve for an angle? Inverse. So I'm going to take the inverse of that. So my answer is 76 degrees. Now on the back side it says 104, and I'm going to tell you the only way, you'll only have to know this way, because this year we didn't learn that there are two triangles. But remember that sine, just so if you want to know why it's why your answer is the other one on the sheet, sine is also positive here. So you'd have 180 minus your 76, which gives you your 104. But I would just change your answer to 76 and you won't have it on the test. But that's why it's 104 on that, because we didn't do any ambiguous cases. So just have 76. And the last problem on this paper is this one. It says use the law of cosines. Use the law of cosines to find to the nearest degree. So you should know that it doesn't matter what angle, but you have the angle you're using, you'd have b squared is equal to a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cos of b. The only thing that matters is whatever angle you are using, that side has to be across from it. So I will plug in, these are all sides, so I'll plug in my sides. So I have b squared is equal to 67 squared plus 128 squared minus 2 of these two multiplied together, cos of 48. If you throw that all into your calculator, you get 939607. Last step, solve for b. Square root. The biggest thing with this chart, and I'm going to put up the answers here in a second, and I know we kind of did this earlier. Biggest thing with these charts is just make sure you know how to put this into your calculator, whether it's degrees or whether it's radians. If you can put it in your calculator, you'll be fine. And also, don't worry about exact values. If you go on in math, you can worry about those again next year. But those were when you had the square root of 2 over 7 and things like that. So we're not even going to worry about those. So just make sure you know how to get the decimal answers. So with that said and done, you should have done this with us, but make sure you know how to put it into your calculator, and those are your answers right there.